Hey everybody, welcome to Arcade Hunters Podcast episode 135. Nick and I have a whole bunch of news stuff. Well, news, not news stuff, news, stuff. Also have some events we've attended, arcades we've checked out, a whole bunch of stuff. It's going to be another catching up episode. We've got, first time in a long time, some arcade news, not just pinball. Lately, it's been the pinball world dominating, unless you dive really deep into some of the not so fun redemption games.
Yep.
And I always do this. I'm always facing a different direction. So actually, this is an easy one. To my left, by quite a few hundred miles, is my good friend Nick.
Hey, how you doing? Yep, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. As we record this, it is November the 25th. We want to wish everybody out there in the United States a very happy and healthy Thanksgiving coming up. I just got done at the wonderful Flea Prey, Florida convention out there. And we're going to be talking about that. Obviously, the IAPA show just wrapped up here in Florida as well. So as Gerard said, we got a whole bunch of new updates. As always, we like to give big shout outs to Jason over at Nap Arcade, and of course Adam over at Arcade Heroes, who attended the show and showed off he's been showing off a whole bunch of the new arcade releases that have out there, some new music games, power to the EXA. But also one thing that I see that I'm pretty sure Gerard neglected it in the show notes was we have a brand new pinball machine yet again. Oh my God.
Oh, Gerard, wow. Yeah, that completely blew.
It's been so much crap. It's like you forgot about the new game that Pinball just released. They just sold 500 of them like that in the first day.
I'm not going to lie. So you want to talk about that first?
Yeah, let's talk about it. So the other day, you go.
I was just going to say, when you sent me the text, Hail to the King, baby, I knew exactly what it was, an Evil Dead pinball game. I got excited. The artwork looks awesome. I always mess up.
Christopher Franchi.
Christopher Franchi. I was going to call him Steve Franchi, but Christopher Franchi did the artwork. Amazing job on the artwork. Then I saw it was being done by Spooky Pinball, and that just kind of knocked the wind out of me.
Well, Spooky loves their horror games and stuff like that, and now that Chris Franchi is working with them as their in-house artist now, supposedly there's like a big 30-minute long video. I watched the even longer one that was 50 minutes long, that Straight Down the Middle did, and they were talking to all of the designers. Ben Heck, as we all know, has worked on it. A couple of other folks.
Ben Heck.
Design.
Wait,
yeah, this is a Ben Heck design.
Oh, okay. So now my interest has peaked back up because the last, I was thinking of some of the last few Spooky games, like Halloween is in my mind abysmal. The video clips are way too long. It breaks up. It's very clunky. The way the plastics over the in lanes and the ball pops up there, the bush is supposed to be by surprise. It kind of throws you off. Texas Chainsaw Massacre was just, to me, it's a mixture of too much and not enough going on, which is pretty hard to do. And so it just doesn't have a good flow. And I remember I sent you a text. As far as Spooky goes for the track record out of the games that I've played, I like Total Nuclear Annihilation, which really wasn't designed by them.
Big ups to Scott, who also, speaking of Scott Denisi, real quick tangent, one of his songs that's in TNA has made it into the world of dance games. It got added onto In the Groove. There's a brand new In the Groove update, and the TNA song.
That's
one of the TNA
awesome.
songs is in there, and he's credited on there. Very cool.
And then the other Spooky game that I love is America's Most Haunted. Is that what it's called? Yeah.
Yes.
and that Ben Heck designed.
Yep.
So hearing that Ben Heck had a hand in designing Evil Dead now has me interested.
Yeah, so we got... Yeah.
I was going to say, it's Ben, when I texted back, I'd be a little more excited if it was Stern or Old American Pinball had designed it.
Yeah, so we got... So they have announced, like, once again, big ups to Jason because they have everything written out. They have the first 2 movies, which is 2 separate licenses because there are 2 different companies that own it. So you get Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 Dead by Dawn, I'm sorry.
Yep.
But no, unfortunately, I'm a bigger fan of Army of Darkness. Call me weird. I'm not big into like all the gross out, horror comedy that both of them have. But supposedly you're able to play from both movies, and there's going to be clips from all the movies. Of course, they had to get the wonderful, the one and only Mr. Chin himself. You know it.
Bruce Campbell. And it's interesting that they got the first 2. It's interesting that they got the first 2 movies because the second movie, the whole intro pretty much retells the first movie in like 20 minutes, the whole opening beginning. And have you seen the second one?
I've only seen Army of Darkness, unfortunately.
Okay,
like I said, I'm not running into like the the grossed out stuff.
So you got to watch the second one. Mm-hmm. It the first one's a straight up horror movie, and it's got some brutal stuff. The second one is the perfect blend of horror and comedy.
Yep.
And it's not crazy over the top gore. It's like crazy over the top kind of blood spray and stuff from random shit to the point where it becomes comical. It's like the fight scene in Kill Bill, the famous fight scene. So imagine like that amount of blood next to no gore. So like one thing, he's in the house and all of a sudden the house just starts gushing insane amounts of blood in his face.
And that's in the game.
It's not coming from gore moments. So definitely watch the second one. The second one's easily the best one.
So the game was designed by Bug Emery, who's also one of the owners of the company, and Spooky Luke. So they worked on it together. Ben Heck is doing all the codes and stuff for it. Matt Montgomery, Back Alley Creations. I've been following this guy for a long time, and it's awesome that he's working with Spooky now. He's doing all the sculpts and stuff like that. So the game is limited to 888 units. According to the folks, they said they sold 500 of them already, are already claimed for. They're only doing one version of the game, so that's one good thing. They're not doing like a Bloodsucker edition that has like a different artwork, but they do have that they call it a direct print butter on the cabinet that you can spend an extra almost $2,000 for if you want to get that. The game is going to cost, I think it says $10,000. And they also have a really, really cool topper on it. So, Gerard, you've seen the movie, so you know about like the girl bursting out of floorboards, and they're going, "Oh my God, her eyes! What the hell's wrong with her eyes?"
That's from the first movie. I'm looking at the play field, so I love that they have the lower play field basement, basically the fruit cellar from the first 2 movies, and how the stairs going down. I want to say the long-necked, whatchamacallit, Deadite, I believe is called Henrietta. And then if you look, the head that's with the blonde hair on the right side, that's Ash's girlfriend. When she becomes possessed, the head starts talking.
So in this game that I forget the name of the voice artist. They have a different. Her name is Laura Sluter. I'm not sure how to pronounce her name, but she's playing the voice of Linda. And they said that what happens in the game is that she will either help or she'll hinder you, depending on the way the head is. So if the head is in good mode, she'll probably tell you, "Hey Ash, do this, do that." But if it's turned around and she's in Deadite mode, she's going to be being antagonistic and screaming at you and stuff like that.
That's awesome. And there's so many references there on the playfield. There's references to the VHS art and poster art. So like in the outlanes where it says ball save, that skull That's not in the movie. That's from one of the famous posters and VHS art where it's a skull with a regular eyeball. And if you go the one ramp to the right, the girl coming out of the ground with the like zombie hand grabbing her by the neck. Mm-hmm. That's from the poster from the first movie. That scene never happens in the movie, but that was on the poster. Looking at the 3 pop-ups, the middle one, it's a trap door and has the chain on it. Yep. That's what the popper is of. I love that I forgot the car. What's the car that's in all of
Oldsmobile
movie? The what?
Oldsmobile.
Yep, has that on the ramp. The hand. The only thing I wish the hand, the fingers would go down so it would give you the middle finger, because that was a famous scene from the second movie.
Yeah, so it's got a 3-bank that comes up out of the playfield, and then when you you bash that target, it becomes a scoop, and that feeds down into the lower playfield, or like pretty much what Ben Heck said. It doesn't really feed the ball. There is a ball in the lower playfield, but we just kind of hide it from the player. He says, I'm giving stuff away here on the trailer," and they were saying, like, they put the first movie on, and, like, the first thing you see is when they're coming up to the house, there's a really creepy atmosphere with a porch swing going back and forth, and supposedly the guy yelled out, "We have to have that in the game." So if you notice the top right of the playfield, there is a cabin, and it has a porch swing, and it'll swing, but it'll hold the balls, and then it'll swing back, and that releases them for multi-ball.
That's awesome that the porch swing swings.
So it's got a double-barreled shotgun, of course, the boomstick. Now, it kind of reminds me of like a Very Target. So both, there'll be one out and then the other one, and like Ash will tell you to like load the gun or stuff like that, so you can knock the ball into it, and it looks like you're loading the shotgun shell into the shotgun. It looks really cool. Now, what they were talking about is on the left-hand side, there's a group of drop targets that spells out, of course, GROOVY. Now, they were saying that they were trying to shoot it from the right flipper, and it felt like you could only shoot it in one section. But someone decided on something different, something very unique. I don't think I've ever seen this in pinball before, Gerard. So the right slingshot is not a slingshot. It's a flipper.
Yep. I'm looking at it right now. I'm like, holy shit.
So once again, Spooky likes to do wide body games because they can. So you're going to have this option where it looks like it's going to come up this ramp, and it's going to feed this ramp, and it goes right down to where the hidden flipper is. And then there's a hand, of course, the hand that's coming up out of the floor that, Ash is chasing in the movie. And he'll scream like, "Get that son of a bitch," like that, and you can shoot him with it. So it's got.
So
I'm glad
hand,
it does that.
Yeah,
the hand does move. It's on a trail.
Yep, I'm looking at the rail right now. So
it doesn't stay one spot. So it's going to be very interesting to see, because the fine folks are going to be bringing the game to Pinball at the Beach. It's going to be there playable. Now, the one thing is the new topper that they've been showing off is an extra charge, but they are going to include a plastic topper, which is basically the same thing. Everybody will get the topper on it, but if you want that extra animated one, and it just seems like after the Labyrinth one came out, it's like everybody's like, okay, now we're gonna have to like top all the other toppers. So it's like
between the Labyrinth topper and the Cheshire Cat topper with the LCD eyes, all bets are off.
Oh yeah, we're getting crazy. So that is the Evil Dead pinball machine. Once again, amazing job out there. I look forward to playing it. I still have not. I even told them on a live stream, like, I have not gotten to play Looney Tunes / Texas Chainsaw, so I really can't judge it. Kind of like what Gerard said. With their games, I've only played like 2 games on Alice Cooper, and didn't really think much of it. Scooby-Doo is okay, but I feel like since it's a wide body, it feels like the ball is in there forever, and it feels like the game could go on for a very long time. I've seen people just like bouncing it around in the top, but I mean, for a theme, it's like the theme to get it in there, because it's spooky pinball, and you want something that, kudos to them for actually making a family theme game for a second. But like you said, I feel like, TNA, and I did enjoy what little I played of the other game for America's Most Haunted.
Mm-hmm.
But it's something to look forward to. It's like, got to give it a try. Give it a chance to see how it goes.
My interest level literally went from not at all to holy shit. If it plays good, I'm wondering if I should sell my arcade cabinet and my Oktoberfest pinball and try to get one.
Yeah, because it sounds like it's already getting gobbled up like gangbusters over here. So there's another thing that I wanted to talk to you about, Gerard. I know we didn't have it in the show notes, but they showed this off. Jason from Nap Arcade posted it, that Jersey Jack is starting a Pinball XP redemption system. Have you seen this?
I have not.
It's a premium package of the latest 5 pinball machines, 65-inch displays towards the playfield. They have this really cool, they showed the displays on there, have like these wide screens that show off the tables, but they're talking about doing tickets and pinballs again. And it's like, it says, oh, get this now. And it shows, they have like the camera system. I mean, that part looks cool because they showed there's like a video of it, but it says play to win the jackpot and it says 5,000 tickets. But I really don't understand why they're doing this again, to be perfectly honest with you, because Jersey Jack has tried it before. Stern has tried it before. And from being, working in 2 different family fun centers, I can already tell you that no one is going to bother with ticket redemption pinball again. It's just, I think it's too much of a hassle, too much to fix on a game. Kids aren't going to care about it when they've got, Touchdown Fever or, the Angry Birds one that builds towers of coins and it's a coin pusher. The coin pushers and stuff like that, stuff that people just dump money into. I really don't know how this is going to work, to be honest with you. So
this is what's interesting. So besides the skill-based digital ticket awards, it mentions XP progression system with leaderboards. Yeah. So almost like how Stern has their Insider Connect with the scores and tracking on the app, except now it's in a public place. Seamless integration. That's jackpot ticket opportunities for outstanding play. The rumor of it costing $100,000. This is geared directly towards FECs.
Yep.
And having the big display above the games, they're noticing that it seems like the money for FECs and large arcades are with the giant theater arcade games, the big screen arcade games, the like 4D experience type arcade games.
I mean, when I was looking today at Adam's video from Arcade Heroes, he showed off the stuff from the Betson booth. So Betson and Raw Thrills pretty much share the booth, and they have one side of the booth, and it's all of the VR ride games. So you had their, King Kong. I think it's called T-Rex Safari. I wish that they had gotten. You can tell they definitely wanted to get the Jurassic Park license for that, but they didn't get it. I thought, okay, they have King Kong, so they already have the good graces of Universal, but apparently not.
Yeah.
And they also had Godzilla, and supposedly those machines make a ton of money on location because it's like you put it in, it's like $7-8 a player every time they go in there, and they got the little thing and they can play, and it feels like a different thing each time.
Yep. And so the thought is having something with a huge display to attract eyes. Yeah. They probably did their research and saw that there are a lot of older people and adults that bring their kids, or they go with a group to these places. A couple of them might be into pinball. And so if they see something like this, they might give it a play to get some tickets. Or it's like how a lot of the FECs have it's almost like the arcade game, the real chance redemption games.
Yeah.
Except this, you can actually play, trying to almost hooks someone like it's a slot machine by the big flashy display, except if you're better at it, you can win more.
Yeah.
And that's definitely what they're targeting, but that's a huge price tag, gigantic price tag. And they're probably noticing that not that many FECs are buying just one pinball game or a pinball game anymore.
Yeah, because the first time they did it, I believe, like, I think they had it with Wizard of Oz, and it was time-based. And it was like you put the money in, and you had, like, the operator could set it to, like, 3 to 5 minutes that the customer could play, but I was just like, 5 minutes is way too long for most pinball people to play a game. But it was like you had, like, 3 minutes to get as much points as you could, but I never heard of anybody ever offering it. It's just very weird.
Yeah.
So,
well, one thing I do have to say about this, and this is where something like this makes sense. It's not something completely new. It's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 5 vertical LCD screens, code, and then the pinball machines connected with a ticket payout. So the only new stuff is really the code and the screens and the ticket payout. They can still sell their arcade pinball games. It's not like they made a giant unit that's only for redemption. They can list all their pinball games. If someone orders this, they pull those games off the line, change the coin door, throw in some screens, and they sold it. So there's probably not an insane amount of money put in on their end as far as manufacturing.
But I really want to know, like, for all those folks out there, drop a comment and let us know if you've ever seen ticket-based pinball of new games. I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear Super Mario Brothers Mushroom World. I don't want to hear Nudge It. Yeah. Something of the current ones, because I have never heard of an arcade that has ever offered it. To be honest with you, if it's a pinball machine, they're gonna run it as a straight pinball machine.
I was gonna say. Yeah, I was gonna name a few that I've seen, but they're all old.
Yeah.
And they're not around anymore at places where you get tickets.
Because remember how, like, Stern had that thing that you connected to the left leg of the machine, and it had the ticket acceptor in there, and it had the thing that it would spit out the tickets for it. And it's still in the code, like, you get one ticket or something like that. But I don't know, man. It's like you said, I don't think it was like a big thing for them. Like, they don't have to do a lot because it's just extra code, but
code and some looks like code, some LCD screens, and some coin doors, and so it looks like it's not an insane investment. So if it doesn't work out, they're not like screwed. I mean, not to be mean, but it's not like American Pinball putting out Barrio's Barbecue and it flopping and then being like shit.
Yeah, according to I don't know if they were at the I forget one of my friends I was talking to. I forget if he said if he was at Expo or if he was at the IAPA show. I don't know if they were even at IAPA, American Pinball, but he was saying about how, like, American Pinball had a gigantic thing set up for all their games, and they said there was barely anybody there. They said, I think it was pretty much the one at Expo, because everybody was saying, like, they said, like, Expo, it was totally, their booth was totally dead, and you could just walk up and play whatever game you wanted. And then they said, like, they would notice, like, they would look around and they would see people like Dave Fix would be sitting there trying to play the game, see if people wanted to play.
Yeah, it was Expo, had a huge area and a whole bunch of barbecue, and no one was playing the barbecue.
Nobody wants barbecue. Nobody wants ice cream. Everybody wants some sweet Avatar. They want some sweet X-Men. I mean, people were more excited after they got to play Ninja Eclipse. And considering how many positive things and positive word of mouth I heard about Ninja Eclipse, how it did a total complete 180, I definitely want to play it now, because everybody was saying, like, oh my God, like, this was the sleeper hit of the show.
Yeah.
It went from, like, it came out and it was going to have all these different innovations, and people like, this is not really needed. And then they listened to all the complaints, and it came out, and look at what we got. We got like a decent um, playing game that people are going crazy for.
With an unlicensed theme.
Yeah.
Yep. I was going to say, we can talk forever about American Pinball and their decline. Yep. It's a shame the direction they went and what they chose post Galactic Space Tank or whatever it's called. Galactic Tank Force.
We just call it Ice Cream Tanks.
Ice Cream Tanks. I'm not a fan of Ice Cream Tanks. I love their games before Ice Cream Tanks. I don't like their games post Ice Cream Tanks. And it sounds like they really screwed up.
I mean, they got lucky having the other one from I forget the name of the company that did Valhalla, but you know, Valhalla wasn't technically their game. They just published it.
Yeah, and as we talked about in our previous episode, there are some people at American Pinball thought that this would be something cool to do. We'll go check out your homebrew game or a game that you develop, and if we think it's a good game, we'll produce a limited amount to sell and get them out to the public. Mm-hmm. They did it once, and then pretty much kind of David Fix it's my understanding from everything I've read and heard and listened to, that David Fix came in and kind of with everything.
I mean, they didn't even come to free play like they usually. Yeah. Like I remember seeing Dave, but that was back when it was in Orlando, so it was easier for them to go around. But let's talk about some.
I was gonna say we could have had a Whitewater too.
I know. But let's talk about some of the other games that were over at IAPA. So our friends from Raw Thrills have new versions of Halo Fireteam Raven. So when this game came out, of course, it was in that gigantic 4-player sit-down cabinet. And now they have it where it's a stand-up cabinet where it actually has the machine guns from the video game. Mm-hmm. The assault rifles. So there's 2 different versions. They have a smaller 2-player unit, and there's also a 4-player unit. The game itself is just It's basically a shooting gallery. It's like the camera freezes, and there's either planes or soldiers come out at you. It reminded me of that one that we played called Paradise Lost.
Yes.
Where it was just a shooting gallery, where it looked like, you know, they were on like the beaches of like Vietnam, and then the guys are just coming out and just walking and getting shot at. It was just so boring.
It's funny you're talking about this. I just played through it over the weekend, and I'll talk about it more. Talk about it more with visiting Tycoon Arcade, but it was crazy. I went from playing the Raw Thrills Jurassic Park game to that. The Raw Thrills Jurassic Park game, having a blast, making jokes about tranquilizing the dinosaurs, yet they're blowing up into a million pieces, and just nonstop fun smile on my face. Halo, it was lacking that like bombastic fun factor to keep you going. Still played through it. It had the game because everybody knows Halo. You know, it's one of the most popular console games. You know, people play it. People are still playing it to this day. You know, but the thing that I did like, it had Xbox Live integration, so you could get achievements in the arcade game, which were cool. But since I haven't had Xbox Live in a long time, I totally forgot what the login was for it. The one thing that I hated the most is it didn't have the iconic theme song. No.
And I know it's Fireteam Raven, so I know like ODST probably had its own theme song, but I just wanted to do but didn't hear it.
And it's kind of it's long. It's a slog to get through. Oh, yeah. And like you said, it's a gallery shooter. It's not, whereas Jurassic Park, you're constantly moving. Whether your character's running, whether you're on a vehicle, a Jeep, whether a giant pterodactyl has grabbed your parachute and they're dragging you through waterfalls.
Oh, yeah.
Move, change. It's like that. It's like the MTV generation of every 3 seconds, something's changing and colorful.
Because the thing is, we all know that these gallery shooters are made for one thing. They want you to keep continuing and put your money in. Because now these new ones, there's no possible chance you can beat the game on 1 credit. No. It's not like it used to be back in the day where you had skill. It's basically your life bar is the timer. And the operator sets the timer, so it doesn't matter how good you are, how many times you played the game, it's going to have you continue. It was the same when the Batman racing game came out from Raw Thrills. I was so excited. Oh my god, you get to play as all the different Batmobiles. Guess what? They're all cosmetic. It doesn't do anything. And you die in the same spot every time. You'll always beat the first level, and then when you get to the second level, you fight against like 5 different enemies that shoot at you all at the same time. They have 100% accuracy, and you can never defeat them. You will always die.
Yep. I will say the big difference, though, with these big gun games, especially ones where, like Jurassic Park, where everything's vibrating, or like Luigi's Mansion, where it's surround sound, or the Crimson something, the most recent House of the Dead that had the fans and everything. Crimson Dawn.
Scarlet Dawn.
Scarlet Dawn. Yep. It keeps you playing because you want to get through. You want to see how crazy and over the top it gets. Whereas with like the Batman racing game, there's not enough there to want you to keep plucking in money to continue.
Yeah, the Batman racing game was just like all form and no substance. It was just like, here, get off the damn game.
Mm-hmm.
So, some other stuff that they've announced. Gerard pointed this out to me. There's a Contra redemption game coming out called Contra Burst.
This game is on test. It went on test November 4th. Since we're talking about gun games, it's a perfect fit. It's an anchored gun game, a redemption game. And there's no videos online really yet. There's a couple photos. Our Arcade Heroes had it.
Yep.
And I hope it does well and comes out. Yes, it's not a running gun, but the thing is, and this is what I love, whenever classic arcade gamers bitch and moan about arcades now, it's like you have to remind them arcades change and evolve based on where the dollar's going. A lot of people in the old days bitched about video games and video arcade games because they were into the pinball, electromechanical, and all that stuff. Things change with the time. That era died, though when we talk about EXA Arcade, it's kind of bubbling up and resurging in some areas. But taking a key license and applying it to a redemption game and making it fun, that's awesome. I don't know if it's fun, but I hope it is, because we've had some other redemption games that are fun to play, like Space Invaders Frenzy.
Yep.
You see that? It's fun to throw in a few bucks and play.
And they got a new Angry Birds game that's out that uses the same style cabinet. Same with the Nerf game. It's a gallery shooter, but it's a fun gallery shooter, and you want to see how if you can beat your score and get higher and higher and get more tickets and stuff like that.
The Hot Wheels redemption game was fun. The Ghostbusters game was fun, though. It got to a point where it was a little too easy.
No, because the Ghostbusters one was the ending of it when you would shoot the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. It was either if it wanted to give you the tickets, because there was a couple times where I thought I had them dead to rights, and it goes, no, you failed. I was like, bullshit, I didn't miss one of them. But so you're still on, the slot machine. You got like that, whatever, like the 1 in 10 chances to win the jackpot. But
minus that, the other stages and shooting the ghost was entertaining to do a few times, a handful of times. So this could be fun. It could be a fun railgun game. Oh, I almost forgot Seawolf. Yeah, Seawolf. That was a blast to play. I remember when that came out, you and I at Dave & Buster's, that was the game we played the most.
I remember I had gotten a video of it because when I worked at Dave & Buster's, the owner told me, we're going to be getting rid of, he would always tell me, like, don't tell people when they're getting rid of games because people start, he goes, anytime like someone has said something, like if they overhear it, they throw a fit, but if it doesn't make money, we have to take it out. But I had gotten a video of it, and I only published it after we got, and I said, this is probably the last day that I'm going to play this one here. But one of the other things to note, Gerard, that we're forgetting to tell the kids out there is that this person, whoever took the photo of this Contra Burst redemption game, it is at the Fuente Hills Mall location in Round 1, USA. And did you see what's to the right of it is a Castlevania token dropper.
Yes.
So Konami's like, okay, they're working with round one. You know, I know Konami has. I don't know if they still have it there or not, but they had an office location in Las Vegas. For doing the slot machines. I remember when one of the last times I went to the SEMA show with my family, we landed and my brother's looking out the window and he sees the Konami logo on the building and he's like, Konami? He goes, didn't they make Contra? And I said, yeah, but now they're into slot machines. They said they're huge out here. I said they're getting them in Japan too.
It's like Bally.
Yep. They realized where the money was, that they made more money in it. And that's not even talking about these gigantic Gitadora things that there's also on the same page on here. Absolutely gigantic on that.
And I was going to say, kind of on the same vein, even coin droppers. Japan, I remember living there. There were some coin drop games and coin pusher games that had a video game element. There was a Super Mario Brothers one.
Oh, yeah.
It was it had a center LCD screen. It was the graphics from like Super Mario World, and you would stick in the coins that had mechanical stuff moving, and if the coin hit certain things at the right time, Mario would jump up and hit a question mark block, get a mushroom, get a fire flower. If you drop coins at certain things, shoot fireballs, and it would basically interact based on how you drop the coins. I got sucked in. I probably spent $20 playing the game.
Oh, yeah.
Because I didn't care about the tickets or the coupons or the coins coming out. I'm trying to drop the coins and time it like I'm playing a Mario game with a coin drop to see if I can get to the end of the stage, see what happens next. So you can make redemption games and video redemption games fun. That's the biggest thing, making it fun and not just a mindless cash grab, which unfortunately seems like they go one of two ways. They're fun or it's a mindless cash grab.
So another game that was just announced, well, it's been around for a long time, and it's finally coming to the United States with its original name. It's not being changed. I'm so happy that it's coming out to the United States officially. Taiko no Tatsujin, the Taiko Drum Master. It's coming to the United States. Now, according to Adam from Arcade Heroes, the first round of units was about 100, and supposedly round one has bought them all. So it shows you the buying power that places like Round One and Dave & Buster's has, where I was told this about, I don't know if I'll get in trouble, a little inside baseball, but who gives a shit? It's been so long. But I was hearing a story from somebody that they were talking about how when Connect 4 Basketball came out, I think Baytech makes that. I forget the name of the company.
I'm pretty sure
it's
Baytech.
Yeah, it's one of them. It's like Baytech or Coastal Amusements. But supposedly, like, the person from Dave & Buster's saw it and played it and had a great time. And he goes over to the guy and goes, hey, how many are you making in your first run? And he's like, 40. He goes, okay, we'll take them all. And put out his hand and shook his hand and walked away. He said, okay, that's it. So, like, yeah, I would tell people, like, yeah, we're the only ones with this game right now. So other arcades aren't getting it yet. So there's a whole thing about how this is going to work. It's going to use the Bandai Namco Passport. So it'll be online like Mario Kart that he says. He goes, however, there is a song fee that he's talking about. Now, this is like kind of like because all the music in the game is licensed, supposedly they take 20 cents a game.
Yep, for the
from
song.
So giving that, so it's like, because I guess that's a way to kind of circumvent, because that was the biggest problem when the game came to the PlayStation all those years ago, and they called it Taiko Drum Master, was that it did not have any of the Japanese songs. It had some Japanese songs, but I mean, like, I'm sitting there with a Japanese instrument, and there's all the characters are dancing around in like a festival environment. I don't want to do Britney Spears' Toxic or the Jackson 5 ABC.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, it is okay to throw in some American songs, but I mean, this is a Japanese rhythm game. I want to hear some of these Japanese songs. Obviously, because like the anime songs, they're all owned by different companies, so that's like a whole another bowl of worms when it comes over to the United States. So just the fact that we're getting the game at all at an official capacity, and they're not having to like import the machines or use like the really old models that we see all over the place. So I'm very happy that this game's coming to the United States. Unfortunately, the nearest round one near me is 4.5 hours away, so I'm not going.
So the nearest round one for me, it's 2 hours away, but it's in a kind of a rough neighborhood, but I'll probably check it out. I do want to point out, you just invented a new term that I plan on using from now on for the rest of my life.
Okay. What's that?
Ball of worms.
Yeah. You never heard of the term bowl? That's a whole nother bowl of worms?
It's ball of wax or can of worms.
I thought it was a bowl of worms.
Or bowl of worms, yeah. It's a whole new ball of wax or open up a can of worms, but bowl of worms, yeah, I'm using that. I'm going with that.
I'm looking it up. No, I thought that was called like, oh man, I thought a can of worms. I thought it was a bowl of worms. Whole bowl of worms.
Like I said, I'm going with that. I just had the visual image and everything. I'm like, that's even better than ball of wax or can of worms.
So, Gerard, once again, we are the arcade hunters. We got to talk about arcades. And I don't think anybody else is bringing it more than our fine friends at EXA Arcadia. Power to the EXA.
Holy crap. So all this information came right from Arcade Heroes. EXA Arcadia. Was it AMOA in Japan or like, I forgot the...
I think it's the JPAM Expo.
Yes,
he has written down, and there was also AMOA.
Yep, and EXA Arcadia did, I think it was a live stream. I think it's an hour plus talking about all the games coming out. And what's funny is a lot of these games, and this seems to be a new trend, when we were younger, a game would come out in the arcade, and then it would be ported to the consoles. Mm-hmm. Now, there's independent games and remakes coming out on consoles that are getting ported to the arcade, especially EXA Arcadia. Mm-hmm. So the first one I have, and we'll go through these and talk about them briefly because it's a pretty long list.
Now, the one thing to tell the folks out there, we're going to be naming some games that are out currently on other platforms. But the thing is, EXA Arcadia has this contract that they have. Yep. They have an exclusivity. So the company can make the same game, but they have to have features that is just for EXA Arcadia. So one example, there is a very famous game that people know called Donut Dodo.
Yep.
That you can play it on Steam. Now on the Steam version, Donut Dodo is a one-player game, very reminiscent of Donkey Kong, where you're running around trying to collect items and trying to grab the giant donut after it appears, and you're, of course, getting attacked by toilet monkeys and, of course, a dodo that lays eggs at you. But they have an EXA Arcadia version that's called Donut Dodo Do. Now, what's different about this one? There's like a time attack mode, but then it also offers 2-player support. That is something that the home version or the one on Steam does not offer. So once again, we are going to be naming some games that you might know and have played before, but these are brand new games that are exclusive for the EXA Arcadia system.
Yep, and I'll point out some of the differences too. Mm-hmm. So for example, first up, Jitsu Squad, which is a beat 'em up. It was a Kickstarter that was successful, and it was released on consoles, I believe, especially the Switch and Steam.
Yep.
Well, the EXA Arcadia version that's coming out, it's Jitsu Squad featuring Samurai Pizza Cats.
I can't believe they got it because I remember talking to Seth Killian when the Tatsunoko vs. Capcom came out, and they were talking about how they were going to add some extra characters for the American release because they had some licensing issues with some of the characters that they couldn't use. And the first one out of their mouth was, we want one of the characters from Samurai Pizza Cats. And they immediately said no. So the fact that this little quirky independent Kickstarter game got the Samurai Pizza Cats, and it's coming to EXA Arcadia. I can't believe it. It's awesome.
Yep, so that's the exclusive. The other thing is the game's rebalanced, so it's more like an arcade beat 'em up where the bosses are tougher, and that's where the quarter pumping is. It sounds like, and this is coming from Adam on Arcade Heroes, that the console version, the enemies, he described it as, the regular enemies are kind of spongy.
Yeah.
So a lot of extra hits and stuff to take them out, whereas in the arcade one, it sounds like almost like Ninja Turtles with the foot soldiers. Very easy to take out. And then when you get to the boss, that's where the real challenge comes.
I'm very excited that they, we watched, I know I watched Samurai Pizza Cats a lot. I don't know if you got to watch that, but I just love because I understand it's not what it was supposed to be, but like that is the equivalent, as they say, our friends in the UK say, they were just taking the piss of everything in this thing. Where one of my favorite parts in the show is something like, I forget the name of the one girl cat that the main character Speedy had a crush on, but the girl goes, "Oh, something's wrong with Speedy. He didn't come back and do his usual stupid faces at me." And then all of a sudden, the character comes in and starts going blah, 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 like that, and starts making faces, and she starts laughing. And it's like, okay,
lost in translation.
Yeah, but it looks like all three of the main cats are going to be there. So I still call them Speedy, Polyester, and I forgot his other name. Oh, crap. I forgot his name. The blue cat.
I forgot. Yeah. I know who you're talking about.
Typing it in. There's Speedy Cerviche, Polyester, and shit, what the hell's his name? God damn it. Why isn't he showing up? He's the second character. Guido Anchovy, yes, it's got to be the Italian.
That's it.
Of course. Everybody's going to go in there, going to see me in the arcade. Hey, Nick, you got to play the blue cat. No, you got to be Guido. All right, I guess I'm Guido. Now, so the cool thing is it will work on 2 and 4 player cabinets.
Yep.
So.
The next big thing that came out, announced at the stream, was that there's going to be an EXA Arcadia trackball.
Yes. We are getting a trackball for your EXA Arcadia.
And there's 2 big games they announced that use a trackball. The first one is Wild Guns. Is it Rawhide? Okay. I'm looking at my notes and the autocorrect is not what I'm like, huh?
Yep. So if you know that, we have a very weird history when it comes to this game.
Yes.
Because did you ever hear of this game when it came out originally, right? I'd never heard of this game.
So I did, but I didn't hear about it from someone playing. I just happened to see it on one of those flaps at Toys R Us. Back when they had the flaps with the picture of the box art or whatever.
Yep, when you had to get the tag.
Yep. I only remember the game because of that, and that's it only. Never played it, never heard anyone that played it. I just remember seeing it.
So should we tell them our Wild Guns story, keep it in a quick nutshell?
Yep.
So, years and years ago, our good friends and I, Gerard, me, our good friend Craig, and also Yusuf. Was it Video Games New York? Was that the name of it? I believe that's the name of the store. So there is a used game store in around St. Mark's Place, I believe it is. St. Mark's?
St. Mark's, yep.
Yeah, St. Mark's. It's called Video Games New York. Now, this is going back probably 15, almost 20 years ago when the prices were...
25 years ago.
Yeah, 25 years ago. So, we're walking around the store. Yusuf comes up to me, and he hands me a Super Nintendo cartridge. And he goes, "Hey, Nick, have you ever heard of this game? It's called Wild Guns." And I'm looking at it, I'm like, "No, I've never heard of this game." He goes, "I was thinking of getting it because look on the package. It's made from Natsume, and they did Pocky and Rocky, and I really like that game." And I said, "Oh, why don't we?" Said, "Hey, it's only like $10." I said, "Give it a shot. Let's see how it is." We took it home, and we're like, "Oh my god, where has this game been all my life?" And now that's what everybody else has been saying, because we've had it got re-released on the I'm pretty sure Nintendo's was it on the Nintendo?
I think it was Virtual Console.
Yeah, it was on Virtual Console on I don't think it was on Wii. It was on Wii U. I know that.
Wii U, okay, Wii U. And then it got a remake.
While Guns Reloaded, yep.
Yep, which was on like all the systems.
Mm-hmm. So this version is going to have a new soundtrack and 4-player support like Wild Guns Reloaded, but as we said, it will offer trackball support. But you can still play it with an original joystick combo. So it's basically going to be like Cabal was in the arcade. Yep. Cabal used a trackball. So I'm very excited. Hopefully one of the folks over at the Tampa Arcade Club will take the plunge and get it. It's going to be very different playing it on an arcade pad, because I was so used to playing it on the Super Nintendo. But wow, it's going to look really cool.
And it also includes the original SNES tunes mode and a new EXA mode.
Yep. That's the one thing with all of the EXA Arcadia games. Whenever you play them, they give you at least 3 options of how to play. It'll be, here's the original, like, I think they had Aki Katana, or for some reason they call it Crimson Katana. I prefer Aki Katana, because I'm pretty sure it's called, it's called Aki Katana on 360. I don't know why they changed the name. I'm looking at the box of it right now. It's called Aki Katana. But the Aki Katana has the original version, so it'll still play in 4x3. And then you can also play the HD version that they have. And there's also the brand new EXA mode that they add in on there. So, of course, since, like, hey, this is, like, my only chance to play it, I'm playing the EXA mode. I gotta see what they've done differently to it.
Then the next game they announced, which also uses a trackball, is called Cyber Blocker R. Mm-hmm. So Cyber Blocker, it looks like it's an independent game. I think it's on Steam. They described it as an aggressive block breaking game and shooter combined. The R is going to add some modes and extra stuff to EXA Arcadia, like all the games, and it uses a trackball. So one of the things Adam points out is this is the first time in a long time we have like a breakout / Arkanoid style game in an arcade.
And yes, it is available on Steam. I am downloading the demo of it right now. It's $8 on Steam. So Cyber Blocker Complete, it's called. But yeah, it looks like wow, this looks really cool. It looks like it's a shooter. And Arkanoid had a baby. Yep. Like, holy crap.
Then up next... Oh, what was that?
It looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I know. Some of these games I'm going to have to go back and download.
It only has 16 reviews. I mean, it came out in October of 2022, so it's like pretty much under the radar, but hopefully this will get some more eyes on the product, that's for sure.
Oh my God, who is it that designed the EXA Arcadia, or the main head? I can't believe I can't remember his name. Huge in like the arcade game preservation society, especially in Japan.
I'm terrible, but I
thought it was like something Flame 1 or something. Yeah. It was almost like a Suda 5-1 type name. I can't believe I'm drawing a blank. We've even communicated through, I think it was emails or something a long time ago. I can't, complete mind fart.
So we got the next game that's on our list.
And that's Bunny Bomber Blast, which is an adaptation of, I think it's pronounced Murtop, which was on the Switch and Steam. And it's basically you're a rabbit in a Dig Dug style game, but you also use bombs. So like a Dig Dug meets Bomberman. The graphics look very old school. It actually doesn't look like an old arcade game. It looks more like an old
it's kind of like when Sega did the re-release of Pengo. Almost.
Yeah. Yep.
People looked at that and like, this is a new game. It's friggin' 1984 all over again.
Yeah, and there's not much information except that the game will play differently from the console version. So more information come out on that. Now, some of these next games I might butcher the names of. The next one I have is Eartheon EXA label. and that's looks like a shmup game developed by Yuzo Koshiro.
Yuzo Koshiro's doing the music. He's not. I don't think he's like the actual designer.
Are you sure? It says on Arcade Heroes. It said developed by Yuzo Koshiro and Ancient Development Team.
I thought he only did the. I thought he only did music, but
maybe he did. Maybe he does the music, and the rest of his team, called Ancient Development Team, is doing the developing. But he's famous for the music of Streets of Rage and Maximum Tune.
Absolutely. And
it was originally an indie Mega Drive Genesis game, and there's going to be some new. There's going to be a new EXA mode and the original game when that comes out.
At the trade show, Adam has a video of it, and there is only there was only 2 levels of it available to play. But from what I saw, it looked really good. I really like the classic look to it. And you can still hear me, right, Gerard? I'm having seems like my internet is not loading Arcade Heroes. I think we're having an issue with them over here. I apologize.
Well, you're coming through fine. Yeah,
I think Arcade Heroes is having an issue because I went to go click on something and it crashed the page. So I guess all this hot arcade news and everybody's on Adam's site. We apologize.
Just from the images, it reminded me almost of like a Thunder Cross or... What was the TurboGrafx 16 game? Was it Gates of Thunder?
Yes, Gates and Lords of Thunder.
Gates, yep. It had that kind of vibe to it.
Remember, Johnny Turbo brings you Lords of Thunder. Yep. We all remember that comic.
Now I'm going to jump out of order just to include the other shmups. So Batsugan EXA Label 1.5 updates coming out. It's going to be a major update that's free to people who own the game.
Yep.
It's going to.
So I got to play. I got to play the Batsugan original version on EXA Arcadia. One of the gentlemen from the Tampa Arcade Club brought it with him, and it was a lot of fun.
It's going to add a score attack mode to each of the available play modes that are already in the game. It's going to add a daily ranking function. There's going to be some other small changes, and an EXA mode. The EXA mode has been remade. And one of the things I'm noticing, which I think is awesome, EXA Arcadia has kind of, with their releases, especially the shmups, it's kind of taken over what Cave used to do. Yeah. Back when Cave would release a game, then they released the Black Label, then they released the other updates of the games in different versions and tweak them for the hardcore audience, and that's happening on EXA Arcadia's platform now. And I believe, I could be wrong, but wasn't it not too long ago was it Akai Katana and stuff like that? They're doing that with some Cave games as well.
Yeah. And I think they're even doing I'm pretty sure one of the games that I played, because there's just so many of them, that because as I said, I just got done at Free Play Florida, so shout outs to all the guys over at Tampa Arcade Club that always bring their games to play with us. But they had Chicago Breaker's Revenge Chicago, which is a fighting game. They did have Fixie Fight EXA Label, which is like a run and gun style shooter, kind of reminded me of Gain Ground on there. But I mean, like they had the Batsugan EXA Label. Trying to look down to see some of the other ones, because there was this weird one, Astro Ninja Man EXA. This game is, I don't know if you've seen this game, Gerard. It is freaking weird as all hell, where it's a very simple game, and he's running around, and looks like he's dancing, and it just has one button that shoots like a beam sword out. It just fills the screen with like a lot of crap. It's just very weird.
Yep.
Oh yeah, we crashed Arcade Heroes, so do not hit F5, whatever you do. Yeah, but considering that, I'm not calling it Crimson Katana. Up yours, I'm calling it. This is like me being a Sailor Moon fan, where they used to be called Soldiers and now they're called Guardians. I said no, I'm calling him. But yeah, Aki Katana is on EXA, so it's made by Cave. So if Cave is working with them, we got Dodon Panchi, True Death EXA Label is on there too. I'm pretty sure Aka and Blue is not from them. But the P47 Aces they had on there. I kind of wish they had someone brought Cotton 2 on PCB, but not Cotton Rock and Roll, which is a new one. That's an that's an EXA exclusive on there. But just check out their website, which is exa.ac on there. Well, I can't believe it. I'm really surprised one of them doesn't have it. Is they redid the Fallen Angels? The what the hell was the first name of it? I forgot the name. It was like it had a different name. It just didn't call it Fallen Angels. It had a different name to it. But that Psycho brought it back because like the game was never really finished. It was just released. I know I played the original one in Galloping Ghost, but it's cool. Like hey, here's this finished version of this game that was like very
Daraku Tenshi.
Yeah, Daraku Tenshi. But yeah, they're really showing it off, man. They got some awesome stuff from EXA. So since I can't read the list, you got to read off more.
Yep. Then so the next shmup, I believe it's Air Gallet EXA label, AIRGALLET. This is going to be the director's cut. It's going to include the standard original arcade release and the new EXA mode. Also will have score, attack, and extreme difficulty to choose when playing. That rounds up the shmup announcements. And the one I'm jumping back to, which came in the middle of the shmups, and you already mentioned it to me, Demon Front EXA label.
Yep.
It's receiving an updated, Demon Front's getting an updated EXA label edition. It's going to include the original game and the new EXA mode along with 4-player support.
Yes.
Now, Demon Front, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't that an IGS game?
I believe so, yes.
It was their answer to Metal Slug.
Yep.
It's like Demon Front and In the Hunt. Both are kind of like, they have a very similar art styles, but Demon Front is a blast to play, so it's awesome to see that's going to get a new mode.
And you also got Dolphin Blue and all those other ones that were trying to get into the money of the stuff for Metal Slug.
Yep. So those were some of the key ones I picked. There were more. There were others, but I just wanted some of the ones that stood out from that live stream.
But here's one of the craziest things, Gerard, that we're not mentioning. They're going to be bringing the cabinets over as well. Which I believe that's what Adam was saying in the video, but he did not say anything about the price. So the EXA Arcadia have these special cabinets. Let me get the name of it off of the video. Unfortunately, like I said, the site crashed, so I can't go in there. So just Gerard, do not hit F5. Whatever you do, do not click off that page because otherwise we're screwed. We're not going to be able to talk about it over there. But
so I know EXA Arcadia was being distributed when it first came over in the US by some big distributors like Betson. When I was trying to decide if I want to get an EXA Arcadia set up or a pinball machine, I couldn't find a distributor that still had anything related. When you go to EXA Arcadia's website, basically it's JVS. Yeah, I almost said JVC. I always mix up two. JVC is an old company. It's JVS, the successor to Chama. So you need that type of setup. You can configure a super gun to work with a TV. You could build a cab. I believe Adam built a cab. And then there's some of the Taito cabinets and also some of the Chinese knockoffs of the Taito and Sega modern candy cabinets will also work. But I believe they released a U.S. stand-up. EXA Arcadia had a stand-up, almost like a Dynamo-style cabinet that I believe they brought over to the U.S. years and years ago when it first came out. And good luck finding. I don't think anyone really has those. It's more of the candy style. But I heard they will be, supposedly, the rumors they're coming out with a new cabinet. And I believe you said a sit-down.
Yeah, that's a sit-down, and you can have it in two configurations. You can do it the vertical or tape on there, and it's called the Arc 32, and it looks kind of like the what's the red one that Taito makes? I forgot the name of it.
I was dancing around it. Not
because I know you have the.
What the hell is it? Type X.
Yeah, it's like the Type X. The I forgot the name of it. But I was just at.
It's a cabinet that when Street Fighter 4 came out, everyone Vulex.
Vulex, yeah.
Vulex.
So it's
Holy
kind of
crap.
it's red and black like a Vulex.
Yeah.
On there, and it's got supposedly it's got different types of like sticks and buttons to make it more American, but it does it is the Japanese 6-button layout, or pretty sure you can get the 8-button layout, and it's got the space where you can put in all the art, you can put in the instruction cards. He has a video showing off a game called Chaos Code, and this is a once again a new version that is for EXA Arcadia that they were showing off at the trade show.
Yeah.
I apologize in advance because of the video that I did at the Free Play Florida on Saturday. I wanted to get more of the corner of them at the Tampa Arcade Club, but they were playing very loud music, and I didn't want to get a copyright flag, so I apologize for not getting a lot of it. So
I think that pretty much rounds up the news. I'm looking at my notes in our list. I think we might want to edit some due to time. I was not expecting to be. I mean, we almost should call this an EXA Arcadia episode because we're well past the hour mark already. I know that one of the big things, some of my stuff I can table for next time, but we definitely want to hear you talk about the, would you call it convention? Expo?
Yeah, it's a convention. Yep.
That you attended to. Yep.
So I recently got done with Free Play Florida. Once again, unfortunately for some people, unfortunately for others, they held it in Lakeland, Florida at the RP Funding Center. And it's kind of like a double-edged sword because, like we said, that they do it always the weekend before Thanksgiving. It's also the weekend that they do IAPA in Orlando. And our friend, I was very shocked. I didn't even know this until the day of the show that Marshall had a booth there for Little Shop / Pinball at the Beach. So he ended up bringing games on Saturday and Sunday. He had the brand new Metallica Premium Remastered Edition, so I got to play that. It was about a 15-minute wait every time because the thing is, Metallica people played it for years and they know the game inside and out. Yep. And he had it set up for a trade show. He didn't have it set up for pinball people, so we're sitting there and we're beating the shit out of it. And he also had X-Men Pro and Premium and a John Wick Premium. Also had Avatar. He brought an Elton John Collector's Edition, which was awesome because the topper lit up the entire ceiling that it was on.
That's awesome because it's such a bigger space. It's not just and going up like 3 feet. You think it would
dissipate, but maybe he did something on it. Maybe you can like make it even brighter. But I was also like, holy crap! Like people walking by and like looking at the ceiling, like, what is that? And they're like, oh, it's the pinball machine over there. Let's go see it. So they had, of course, big ups to the folks over at the Batcave for streaming the pinball tournament, and always big ups to where Central Florida goes to play pinball over at the Pinball Lounge. Those guys over there, Lou and a bunch of the other dudes, hosted it and had a lot of fun. I ended up getting into the B division. I couldn't believe that, but I got about the 8th seed, and I was paired together with 3 other much better players, and it was one and done for me, and I walked out, and I was like, because you have to play 3 games, and it does it by the point system of like, okay, first place gets 3 points, second place gets 2, third gets 1, and last gets nothing. So I only got 3 third place victories and like a loss. So I was like, well, I'm a non-thing. And then the one guy comes up to me, goes, "Oh, hey Nick, I've been looking for you. You got money?" I said, "I get money?" He goes, "Yeah, you made it in the B division. Here you go." And he gave me some money, so I got to pay back for some of my entries because I did absolutely terrible. But man, I gotta tell you, Gerard, this is the coldest convention I've ever been in. everybody learned from last year. I saw barely anybody wearing shorts. Everybody had pants and jackets on. I made sure I broke out my old remember my brown Nintendo hooded sweatshirt?
Yep.
It's like that was the thickest one I had because I have a thin one that I got from the Royal Rumble when I went to the one in St. Pete. And I was just like, I need to break out the Nintendo one. I said, it's way too cold in here. I could not believe it. But had a really good time as always. You know, like I was telling Gerard, it's very dependent on what the people bring to the show. So, you know, there's always people I was hearing people saying, oh, I wish they would have bought the Jaws machine. I was like, yeah, but you have to bring you have to lunk these giant heavy machines down with you. I mean, I didn't see my friends from Pinball Dudes. I didn't see them come this year. Last year they brought a couple of games. They brought some new ones, but they weren't there this year. But as always, the VIPs of the show, when you're in the main hall, are the guys from the Tampa Arcade Club. I am so sorry. I keep forgetting the guy's name, but he brings his collection of arcade games. He's got a cockpit version of Star Wars that he brings with him. He's got the 3-screen version of Darius. One person had Sega Sonic the Hedgehog with a PCB with a Japanese control panel, so it was very tiny, and you had to scrunch next to the other person to play it. One of them had the Sega Star Wars trilogy on a flight stick that you could play over there. And then they also had a giant 4-screen, big like plasma screen that they had on the wall, and they were playing some independent shooters. And then on Sunday they hooked up the Neo Geo to it, so they were playing Neo Turf Masters and Magical Drop 2. And I said, dude, we got to put some Twinkle on here. We got to play some Twinkle Star. Someone brought their the mini Big Red, the 2-slot one for the kids. That I know a lot of people out there, if you're listening to this, if you're ever in California, if you went to Disneyland, I know they had one of those small Neo Geos over there. Very tiny, cute little baby cabinet. The one guy, I keep forgetting his name, but he brought his Dinosaur King arcade game that he converted into a Neo Geo, so he had a couple games on there, but had a really good time there. Big shout outs also to the guy that brings the pre-war pinball machines, you know, playing the ones without electricity. You know, he's got like Baffle Ball, and there's one that says Midget something on it. I'm like, oh. I read out the name and I'm like, oh, am I going to get canceled for saying this? I don't know if I can. But it was from the 1930s. It was different then. To go back in time and say, hey, man, don't say that.
Sounds awesome. I miss playing, having a chance to play a lot of the Japanese arcade games and Candy Cabs, and because there's just not, without Tokyo Game Action, there's not many places to go around here. I can go to round 1, but it's weird. You're playing like emulated versions through, I think it's Nessica or whatever, the online thing, and you can select a game and play. It just doesn't feel the same.
Yeah. It's really cool that we had that. A couple folks brought some dance cabinets there. They had a Step Maniacs. They had a Pump It Up, and they had a DDR Supernova that was on PC, so it was playing a bunch of games. I can't believe someone brought NBA Fast Break with the 2-player option on it. It was awesome getting to play that again.
Yeah.
So I look forward to seeing what they do next year, because like I said, it's always around the same year. But next one is Pinball at the Beach, obviously, that we're looking forward to. So can't wait to show off more good stuff coming through. So,
and play the Evil Dead game.
Oh, absolutely. I'll make sure I have tons of video of that.
I'll probably have to wait till Pintastic in April to play it.
I know Carrie Hardy's coming, so we're all going to be checking that out. So, Gerard, you got to go play around at the Tycoon.
Yep. So this will probably be the last bit of the show. I'm trying to get out, now that I'm done with fall chores and stuff, get out to arcades more and check out arcades. So I went to Tycoon Arcade over the weekend in Manchester, New Hampshire. Last time I've been there a few times. So the best way to describe Tycoon Arcade, the layout is, if you ever watch a movie where they try to show like a modern like Google or business, the layout will be like this giant open space, almost like a giant loft, and then a bunch of little offices off of the main space. And that's essentially what this is. It's one giant, basically it takes up almost the whole second floor in this old mill building. After you walk through the tabletop gaming store and you pay your $19 for unlimited play, there's a big open area where all the games are, and then there's a bunch of doors around the open area that used to have more games. So I went there and did a walkthrough a while ago. You go into a little open door, be what would essentially be an office, and there'd be 4 pinball machines in there, or some classic arcade games or fighting games. This time, all those side doors are closed, and there's no games in there. Last time I was there, the side doors were closed with an employee-only sign, but the games were still in there. And so it turns out they might be moving to a new location, potentially a bigger location. It's on their website. They're going to be open, I believe, till the end of this year. And then they might be relocating if they can find a location. If not, then they're going to stay at the location that they're at. But it's just interesting because they used to have a lot more pinball. The pinball is now kind of scaled down because it's only what's in the big center area. And it's a mixture of pinball, redemption games, modern light gun games and large games, some racing games like Mario Kart. They still have the one back room that has all classic arcade games like The Simpsons and Frogger and stuff like that. But the games are all well maintained. I played more Avatar, love Avatar. Starting to get the flow of it better. I also played the Chicago Gaming's Medieval Madness remake. They have, I don't know, do they call they have the one that's all gold on the outside? I don't know if that's called.
Yeah, that's got to be like the deluxe collector's edition.
Awesome. Plays just like the old game. Friggin' kicked ass in it. Got a great score. I fell in complete love with the Bond 70th anniversary edition. That's what it's called, right? The Keith Elwin Bond?
Yes, the 70th Bond set. I think, or it's Bond 60th. Bond 60th.
60th. I'm mixing up with Godzilla. The Bond 60th. Yep. Love that game. Played a whole bunch of that. Finally, I played it.
Like I said before, people would love that game more, but unfortunately, it's got to have that hefty price tag on it because all of the extras. But it's a solid, plain, classic style pinball machine. Yep. He did a great job on it.
Yep, and I love that he signed it and everything. Yeah. When I played it at Pentastic, it was a loud room. I didn't have enough time to really get to play it and figure it out, so I didn't care for it. When I played it this time, that was it. I fell in love with it.
Yep.
Then, for some reason, my friend and I, we decided to play the Raw Thrills Jurassic Park gun game. And we, because it's free play, we played through every mission. So lots of the gun vibrating, seat vibrating, shook the shit out of us. We went to do Walking Dead. Walking Dead was off. So we played Halo. Was it Ravenfire? Fire Team Raven.
Halo Fire Team
Raven. Yep. And we played through that. Again, by the time we were done, I got out of it. I'm like, my whole body's vibrating. My hand, it felt like I was weed whacking all day. My hands are just shaking. I had like friggin' muscle spasms in my legs.
It kind of feels like, remember those, the shocker machine that looked like a giant, you sat inside and we go, like that, that's what's screaming.
Like the Uncle Fester Addams Family one, when you, or the Star Trek one where you hold the metal rods and it's supposed to be like it's shocking, but it's just vibrating a lot. Yeah. Holy crap. My whole body was twitching. A lot of fun. Raw Thrills Jurassic Park, still an awesome game to play, especially if you don't have to pay $2 a game like some places have been charging. Halo, a bit of a slog. It's funny to go from that play Halo, where the graphics are a lot better and it's a lot newer, and it just didn't have that kind of bombastic, bright colored, in your face action. It was like we talked about, more of a gallery shooter where it's like, here comes a wave of enemies. Here comes a wave of enemies.
Yeah, it didn't feel like Jurassic Park is exactly what you said. That is all momentum. It's like, let's keep going. It's wild. I mean, they had to have based it off of the Sega ones, because the Sega ones, it felt like you were constantly moving because they're like, the island is going to erupt. The volcano on the island's going to erupt. We have to go. But Halo, it just feels like you just stand there and the camera's stationary. And the other one that does that is the Tomb Raider arcade game. It's it's a gallery shooter. It's boring. And then the worst part is, most of the time when you play the Tomb Raider arcade game, they always have it set to like the harder mode, where all of the villains have like helmets on, so it takes you like 40 shots to kill everything. It's a pain in the ass.
It's funny playing the Raw Thrills Jurassic Park when we're going around the giant like brachiosaurs or like brontosaurus type dinosaurs. I'm telling my friend, like, I can't remember if one of them takes a shit in this game.
That's the first one.
I know in the first
second one.
I know in the Lost World one, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I know in the Lost World arcade game, one of them was taking a poop. I'm like, I'm wondering if they have that in here to pay homage to it, and it wasn't.
Yeah, because it's like, what?
My friend Don's like, what are you talking about? He's like, I don't. I'm like, no. I'm like, I said, next time we're at Fun Spot, we're going to play the Lost World one, so you can see the dinosaur taking a poop.
The thing is, if you don't shoot his asshole and you take down the thing, he shits on you and you can die. It's like, you could literally die by having a giant dinosaur take a shit on you. And with that, this is the family portion of the podcast. How you all doing?
Have a dinosaur do a Cleveland steamer on you while you're riding the Jeep.
I'll have to tell you a story when we get off the podcast later, Gerard. But something else about that. But yeah, good stuff.
The last thing I want to touch about, and I noticed this there, and that's, I want to do a quick pinball quality roundup with Uncanny X-Men and Jaws. So Jaws, I noticed the reel was not, it would spin, but it wasn't working right. It wasn't dumping the ball into the lane with a small flipper like it's supposed to. Mm-hmm. It would sometimes randomly, like, almost like jimmy the ball out, which would almost always go towards like an out lane, or hit something and bounce off and go towards the out lane. Very frustrating, to the point where I stopped playing it. Mm-hmm. It was a mixture of that, and the game was very, this isn't the issue with the game, but because it's a old factory at Tycoon Arcade, so it's a uneven old wooden finished floor. Yep. Some of the pinball games, if they're jacked up to some of the heights, they're very wobbly or springy, so even hitting the flipper could get a tilt warning, and that was happening on that Jaws. But that reel, and I've read and seen a lot of people complaining about that reel, and has to be so dialed in. And what's funny is, and I'll definitely give credit where it's due, at Fun Spot, the Jaws that they have in their pinball outpost, that reel is always spot on working. Wow. That's good. Well, they always have someone adjusting it and fixing it. Yeah, because you said that like
the owner had to like put a new motor in for the Shark, because they've been playing it so much.
They've had to tweak the ramps and stuff too. But yeah, so it's needed a lot of repairs to keep it going, but they've kept it going. But it's just crazy, and hearing how a lot of people that bought Jaws out of the box, they've had to readjust the reel to make it work right. Yep. And then I went to play Uncanny X-Men, and the action button isn't working. Oh. And you thought that they maybe didn't set it up correctly, and I was telling you off the air. I'm like, no. I'm like, when I played it here like a month ago, or when they first got it, the action button was working. That's what I was using to select the mode, like the Fight Juggernaut mode. Now, when I was playing, you'd have to hit the two flippers at the same time, like the old way to select a mode.
Be thankful that's not on Star Wars. You wouldn't be able to do the hurry up.
No, not at all. Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm thankful.
Or Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, I'm thankful that the action button, this is another problem, that the code hasn't really been fully updated to really utilize the action button that much. And I've heard a lot. I just saw, I think it was on Nap Arcade, the very lengthy fix for the Uncanny X-Men. Sounds like there's a lot of quality problems.
They've been having problems with the launch, and I noticed that on the two that Marshall brought with me, and he said, it is what it is. We're waiting to get all the fixes on it, and should help it. But they said basically they needed to put in a stronger spring because it wasn't making it all the way up. But then even if you do have a stronger spring, they said there's something where the ball goes through the orbit that is making it lose its momentum. So supposedly this kit that is coming out will fix it.
Yeah, and I noticed that too playing it this time, which is funny. When I played it when they first got it, it didn't seem to have any issues with the shooter. And this time, it was not making up all the way out and around. And it's a shame it's a shame that the game's so new and it's having that problem. But two, that it's not just a rebuild the shooter fix. It's something else that's also involved. Yeah,
because everybody's like, oh, I'll just put I think like the stronger one's the red one. I think they call it. They said, oh, you got to put a red one in, and someone's like, no, it's more than that. And I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah, because you also have to worry if the spring is too powerful, you get that kind of ball jitter when it tries to go through orbits and stuff. It sounds like and shame with a brand new game, stuff like that shouldn't happen. I can understand a couple things needing to be adjusted because of shipping, but that's a little more than just a little adjustment.
Yeah,
here's a repair kit.
Yeah. So it'll be very interesting to see. So right now, that's pretty much it for us. I mean, we went on very long. Once again, power to the EXA. Very exciting things coming out. Hopefully, we'll get to check some of that stuff out soon. But once again, we'd like to thank you all for tuning in and listening to us ramble on about games here at the Arcade Hunters podcast. Once again, you can find us on all of your favorite social media sites. We're on the Twitter. We're on Blue Sky. We're on TikTok. Big ups to all the folks over at TikTok. I was posting some short little video clips over there, so it was getting a lot of love over there. I still don't understand how it fully works because we're old, but I'm just like, I did like the same type of video on YouTube. Barely got anybody.
Yeah.
People on TikTok, man, they love those videos. No wonder why they're all on there, man. We getting a lot of views. But Gerard, anything special you want to say for the folks out there before we go?
Nope, just keep checking social medias. I did a test for a giveaway. I have a bunch of crap to give away. Keep an eye for some ways to retweet on Twitter and stuff like that to get a chance to enter in. If you write us a review, we'll send you a very nice package, especially on iTunes. We're trying to get viewers and stuff back up. We lost quite a few viewers with the hiccup we had when our old host went down. We now have a new host and everything's streamlined. Everything's working great. New episodes now go up. If I upload it and click post, it's usually up within 10-15 minutes. Whereas the old way, it could be 10 minutes. It could be 10 days.
Yep. And be sure to check out the new video of the Free Play Florida. I'm going to be uploading it soon on YouTube. So once again, for Mr. Gerard, a.k.a. 2600, and me, Nick, we would like to thank you all for taking your time out of your day and listening to the Arcade Hunters podcast. We hope you have a very happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
See ya.